$1 trillion buyback has just been proposed by the third largest Tesla stock shareholder, Leo. He proposed $100 billion buyback between 22 and 26, plus a $1 trillion buyback between years of 2026 and 2030. He tweeted this on October 18th, and because he's such a big Tesla stock shareholder, you know Elon Musk will eventually see this. Leo has about $5 billion worth of Tesla stock. And Leo has been an advocate of stock buybacks since quite a while ago. And he has been buying more Tesla stock, of course, as well. I'll get in just a moment what I think about that buyback proposal, but first you have to know that Leo appears to be definitely a long-term investor in Tesla stock, saying that when he bought these shares at these prices here, that he's planning to keep them until 2030 or 2040. Leo is very wealthy, and his net worth has grown a lot since 2019 because we know what happened to Tesla stock during this time. Now, we know that from end of 2021 and until now, Tesla stock has not done exactly fantastic. So how do you explain this explosion in net worth right here? Well, this could be part of the explanation. He has options to buy a lot of Tesla shares at a strike price well below the recent levels. This is an article, though, from a little while ago. Of course, Tesla stock buyback would greatly benefit the stock prices, at least in the short term, but this is a $1 trillion buyback. We're not talking just about a few billion dollars. But if it does happen, hey, look, if Tesla can actually afford this, which we will get into this in a few moments, but if Tesla can afford this, then this is gonna be me dancing as well, and I'm not a good dancer, but I would be dancing for sure. Tesla's current market cap sits at $670 billion, so a $1 trillion buyback would be more than current Tesla's market cap. So can Tesla actually afford this enormous buyback? Of course, earnings are growing very quickly and they are looking very nice. This is one of the main reasons why I invest in Tesla stock, because I just look at the earnings, I project them to 2030 in my bear case, and I like what I see because I am not losing money, even in a bear case. I will make a video about my bear case until the year 2030, sometime in the near future, but Tesla is projected to do incredibly well. It virtually has no competition. Of course, we know Tesla is not just a car company. Otherwise, if it was, it would be valued like one with a PE ratio of something like 5. But it's not a car company. This tweet gives us another way to do a Tesla stock buyback. He says here, for example, Tesla does a $10 billion buyback at $210 per share and keeps shares as treasury stock. Later, share price increases to, let's say, $315, and treasury shares now worth, let's say, $15 billion with roughly a 50% return. Treasury shares can be sold into the market if liquidity is needed. Now, on the surface, to me, this sounds like a great idea, but then I start thinking about it and I look at it again, and then I think, what if the stock price goes down further? And what if there's a massive recession that Elon Musk is so afraid of next year? What would we have to do then? Are we going to sell those shares at a loss, creating more downward pressure on the stock in that moment? Or would we have to raise money, borrow money Do you think that wouldn't affect Tesla stock? So if you are a long-term investor, think about this. If you want to do a buyback right now, that, of course, would be very bullish at this moment. But then later, if we do need that capital, which I hope we will not, and I think the possibility of Tesla having to raise money or having to borrow money, even if they do a share buyback right now, is probably not likely. But for me, that's not good enough. I want to know with a higher degree of certainty how likely it would be then that, we would need to sell those shares later. And if right now we just want to do a buyback just because we want to increase the share price right now, and if later we have to sell those shares back at a lower price or raise money, I can't see really why I would want Tesla to do that, because I'm a long-term shareholder. I don't care much what the stock does in the next few years. I care what is going to happen over the long term when Tesla is a very secure position with absolute abundance of cash. Then it's piles and piles and piles of cash on top of piles and piles and piles of cash, which right now we definitely don't have that. I mean, right now, we still need to build many more gigafactories. Right now, we only got what? We got Austin, we got Berlin, we got Giga Shanghai being expanded as well. We got Fremont. That's 4 factories. We need to build many, 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 many more still. So what is this Tesla stock buyback all about when we still need to expand so much? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not against the share buyback. I am actually long-term. I am in very strong favor of a Tesla stock buyback. The only thing that I'm saying here is, think about this. Let's say we do actually end up announcing that $1 trillion Tesla stock buyback. And assuming everything keeps going great, exactly according to the plan, I think that would be possible. If Tesla keeps innovating, which is why I invest into Tesla stock, like, look at this technology. This is so difficult to do. Part of the challenge of making such large castings is that all the aluminum needs to be injected into a die in about 1/10 of a blink of an eye through a single point of entry. That is difficult. I believe Elon Musk can keep innovating, and I believe that it is certainly not out of the possibility that we could have this incredibly large Tesla stock buyback. But even if it was announced today, I wouldn't be so quick to celebrate. Here's why. I like to also think about the potential downside. When you announce a big plan, you almost, like if we announce, let's say, a share buyback. Now, it would also really depend how we announce it, under what conditions Tesla would promise to buy those shares, if any. If later we need to discontinue those, however bullish that would be right now, which it would be incredibly bullish, if that was announced tomorrow, what would happen to the stock? I can't imagine it would go down. That would be really weird if that happened. But then think about, and if that buyback would later have to be canceled, how bearish would that be? Would that be just as bearish as it was bullish by the same amount roughly? Or would it now be more bearish than however much bullish the announcement was, the initial announcement of a buyback, and now if we cancel that, would the stock drop, lose more in market cap and however much it gained in market cap? I don't know. I think you could reason that the potential loss in market cap would be bigger because, hey, look, you set those expectations, everyone is expecting now, and now you failed to meet those expectations, people are going to be mad. And everyone is going to be talking about, oh, Tesla cannot meet the expectations. Tesla will no longer deliver on what it promised, which might be completely false. But when is the stock market ever rational? It's reasonable. I made a video about it. But having a reason to do something stupid is not rational. Does that make sense? And just to be clear, I welcome this idea. I think it is important to discuss different ideas and see what we should do. I think it's very important for the future of Tesla stock and Tesla as a company. My take would be, because also I am more conservative, you could say, than as an investor. One thing that I don't want to do is lose money. I don't care so much about astronomical returns, but I do care about not losing money. And with Tesla stock currently, when I project it into the future, even in my bear case, I don't lose money. And of course, the bull case, that is absolutely lovely. But my personal preference is to do a buyback with cash that you already have. So if you have cash and you know for sure you will have that cash and you announce a stock buyback, then great. Right now, what if we have another unexpected event like what we had, this year in Europe and then a few years in the whole world? You thought in 2020 things could not get worse after the whole thing has gone down, and now you got things happening in Europe, and maybe people are thinking things just cannot get worse than this. I would not be that optimistic personally. I like to prepare for the worst, and Elon believes there is a recession coming. So I would like to hold off, and let's see how Tesla as a company does through a recession, if we indeed have one. And if even through the recession, indeed, we do have an abundance of cash, as we expect that Tesla will have, great. Let's do a buyback. Then I am fully on board with that. In the meantime, we got to grow the company as soon as we can, build more factories, get 4680s in the cars as fast as possible. Right now, we are still not using 4680s. We still are not using front and rear gigacastings for all of the vehicles or structural battery pack. There are still many more innovations that Tesla knows how to implement, but we just haven't implemented yet. Let's implement those first. Let's scale a little bit more, and then let's do a buyback. Also, my reasoning is that most Tesla stock investors are long-term investors. I don't think most Tesla stock investors care too much about what the stock is going to do in the next few months, next year, maybe even next 2 or even 3 years. I think most of them care what the stock is going to do in 10 years. So I would prefer to focus on that long term. So maybe let's take things one step at a time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And let's do stock buyback once we have cash in the bank, which there's going to be a whole lot of it very soon. And let's announce buybacks one at a time, maybe just with however much cash we have. And then we can all have a nice dance, even if we don't know how to dance. I certainly don't know how. But I would certainly be very happy and excited. These are 48 reasons why I only own Tesla stock. My name is Matt Postius, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.